Well, you wondered after the Elimination Chamber if the picture for WrestleMania would get any clearer. And Andy, in some ways it has, but in some ways, man, we got to still wipe the mud out of our eyes. It is just not as picture perfect as we might want it to be. But Andy, that's the beauty of the road to WrestleMania. Welcome to Squared Circle Radio. We are so pumped that you guys are with us, whether it's your first time or you're a returning guest. Thank you so much for being here. That's the Young Buck, Andy York, and my name is Chris Belcher. And Andy, it's been a couple of weeks of feeling like that. Are we at WrestleMania? Is it exciting? Is it this? Is it that? Coming out of Elimination Chamber and after what I thought was a really good Monday Night Raw, where do you stand on your level for excitement now?
It's weird because I think like 75% of Elimination Chamber, actually, I'd probably say like 90% of Elimination Chamber didn't do anything to move me in the excitement.
Okay.
Just because I think, what we got, we kind of expected to get.
Okay.
Which isn't a bad thing. Like that's, again, predictability is not always a bad thing. But then you look at the main event and how that kind of played out. That definitely threw a wrench into things. And I think the argument can be made, well, is it a good wrench or is it a bad wrench? Are we making it more convoluted than it needs to be? And I think that's obviously a discussion that we're probably going to end up having, not just tonight, but multiple times between now and WrestleMania. So I guess my intrigue's a little higher, but my guards are also a little higher as well.
Yeah, we talk about it all the time, man. You don't have to take 3 lefts just to make a right. You can just take the right and just make it okay. Here we are. We're going to take all those lefts. Apparently, we're going to talk about it though. Here on Squared Circle Radio, we're going to lead the show with that men's elimination chamber and what that world title picture looks like. Before we get there though, again, if this is your first time, smash the like button. It's a little thumbs up that's under the video. Hit that like button. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please make sure you do so. We would appreciate that so very much. And our faithful listener, City Kitty, in the chat last week after the show, politely let me know that I hit some setting by accident and did not allow comments live on the show. So I apologize. Look, she is back with us tonight. I did it right. I did not screw it up this week. We're all good. So we appreciate City Kitty being here. We appreciate all of you being here. Drop those comments, drop those questions. Now that we know that it works, here it is. There's our good friend Brad. Hey, what's up, Brad? Continue to drop those comments and questions. We would appreciate it so very much. Andy was on a little vacay last week. Shout out to Vacation Aaron Grisham for stepping in and having just a good old time. If you guys missed that episode, go back and check it out. It's a lot of fun. Andy, let's talk about the men's elimination chamber match, because that's the big story coming out of Saturday. You mentioned, all of the twists and turns that we might take, and are we throwing a wrench in it just to throw a wrench in it? Well, let's talk about it, because the winner of the men's elimination chamber, the Viper Randy Orton, not Cody Rhodes, not Logan Paul, not LA Knight. Randy Orton wins the elimination chamber to punch his ticket in the championship match of WrestleMania. And I say that because, Andy, we're not sure who it's going to be against. Drew McIntyre got himself involved in the match. Nick Aldis decided, well, Drew, since you've got yourself involved, you're going to have a match on Friday against Cody Rhodes. By the way, did not win the elimination chamber. So Cody's going to get a shot, Andy, on Friday for the WWE Championship. So lots to unpack here, because there's a lot of different ways that we could go with this. Your initial reaction, though, because you texted me, I wasn't watching the post show. You texted me about the Drew and Cody match. So you've got Randy, you've got Drew, you've got Cody. There's a lot of other options there. Your initial feelings on kind of where we sit right now?
I mean, I will be shocked if this is not a fatal 4-way for the title at Mania.
Okay.
Just because of the way SmackDown opened with Jay getting attacked and Jacob being right in the center of that, and then Drew coming out right after to cut his promo and to say all the things that he said. I have a hard time seeing this not be a fatal 4-way. And so honestly, like, the way I see this whole thing playing out is the match is probably going to happen Friday. Jacob's going to get involved, get the whole thing thrown out. And then Nick Aldis is probably just going to come out and be done with it and just be like, you know what? You guys can't figure it out. All 4 of you, WrestleMania for the WWE Championship. That's probably the most likely scenario. I think there are some other options that are possible.
Yep.
I just think the way that they have been building this for the last couple of months, it's hard to leave Drew out of the title picture. It's hard to leave Jacob out of it. And now you've thrown Randy in it because Randy's always kind of in the background when it comes to Cody. Yep. So I think it's just hard not to envision a fatal 4-way at WrestleMania.
Okay, so I'm going to throw you talked about the scenarios. I'm going to throw those scenarios out here. We're going to discuss them. We have 6-7 weeks, see what I did there, to discuss what this is going to look like. You're saying that you think on Friday, we're going to find out what the match is. Like, no more waiting. We're going to find out on Friday. I don't know if we do find out on Friday. I think maybe they draw this out another week or so. Here's why I say that. I'm like you. I think the most likely scenario is a fatal 4-way for the WWE Championship between the number 1 contender, Randy Orton, between the champion, Drew McIntyre, between Cody Rhodes, and between Jacob Fatu. Because as you're sitting here laying this out, if they've been building this for a couple months that they have, why would they just throw every bit of it away in order to just get somewhere where they could have gotten much easier? Now, I'll say this. Let's talk about the fatal 4-way first, because I'm about to go down a rabbit hole. So, fatal 4-way, Drew, Cody, Randy, Jacob. I'll play devil's advocate for a second. I know you can't put everybody in, but I think Sami Zayn has an argument based on what Sami has been doing. Are you okay with leaving him out of this match? And if so, what does Sami Zayn do at WrestleMania? I'm not saying that he is like the top dog or anything.
Right.
But to me, he has just as much of a dog in this fight as Jacob Fatu does.
Yeah, I think to an extent. I don't know as much as Jacob, but I think he does have an argument. I think 4 is too many anyways. So I think adding a 5th is a little steep. Honestly, I think you keep Sami out, and I know it's not the coolest thing in the world, and it's probably not even on WrestleMania. Have him win the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, and then make that a thing where, like, coming out of WrestleMania, hey, now I can get a title shot because I won. Sure. I won the Battle Royal. So make that mean something more than just getting a trophy. But then it gives Sami a win. It gives him something to do, because other than putting him in the title picture, and even putting him in the title picture at this point kind of feels forced.
Yep.
I don't see him having a match at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. And I hate that for Sami. I do, because he works extremely hard, and he gets all the love from the people. Speaking of love from the people, we got Brad and City Kitty in the chat hanging out with us. Thank you guys. If you guys got questions, you got comments, what scenario do you want to see coming up at WrestleMania for the World Championship picture? Drop it in the chat, and we'll get to all of it, because I'm going to present this one. And then after I present this next scenario, and maybe it's a third scenario, we're just going to tell you what we think it should be. If we had the pencil, how would we book it? There's a real possibility, Andy, that Cody Rhodes wins the WWE Championship back this Friday on SmackDown from Drew McIntyre. Now, I don't think that completely gets rid of the Fatal 4-Way or the Triple Threat or whatever if Drew loses the championship, but it easily gets us to a match that you could have gotten to in a better way. Cody and Randy. I think your scenario of Jacob coming out and ruining the match could just be Jacob comes out and costs Drew the match, because Jacob has said he wants Drew. He's not concerned about Cody. He's not concerned even about the title. He wants Drew. So you paint the scenario of Cody, Randy, Drew, and Jacob. What are your thoughts there if that were to happen?
It's hard. Like it's really weird because you also, like, in my mind, I have to, like, you think about what makes the most sense, but then you also have to think about what the reaction you're going to get from doing something like that. And I think putting the title on Cody from Drew on a random SmackDown and then seemingly taking Drew out of, let's be real honest, the main event of WrestleMania Night 1, because I don't see the women's match main eventing as of right now. They could completely change it all the way there and build it up.
Sure.
But I have a hard time thinking that's the best option. Now, it's absolutely an option, and it's a very viable option, because, you know, no matter how much we may not like Drew being involved, Cody versus Randy is a marquee matchup that a lot of people want to see. I also love the little detail of the only time they got involved with each other at Chamber was when Randy hit the RKO to win.
Yep.
Like, they never, unless I missed it, they never really got physical with one another.
Nope.
So it seems like they are intentionally making us wait for that moment. That moment could very easily be at WrestleMania this year. And then Drew and Jacob, I mean, that's a match that I think could very easily still WrestleMania weekend. I think it would be an awesome. I think if you do it, you absolutely have to put a stipulation to it. Like, it can't just be a one-on-one. It has to be a no holds barred. It has to be a steel cage, something like that between those two, just to let them, you know, beat the crap out of each other, basically. So I think it's an option. I don't think it's the best option. I still think, you know, looking and putting all four guys together some way, somehow, is probably best case scenario for all four guys and for, you know, excitement going into WrestleMania.
Everyone benefits the most if you have a fatal 4-way, because everybody gets their moment in the sun, and Drew doesn't have to get pinned to lose the championship. And you have a very good chance that Jacob Fatu could steal the WWE championship in the main event of WrestleMania Night 1, and it'd be a huge crowning moment for him.
Yeah.
That being said, there's a wild what if scenario that Jacob Fatu gets left out, even from Drew McIntyre. Andy, I would love it, and I'll go ahead and spoil it right now. If I were booking it, this is how I'd book it. I'm sorry, Jacob Fatu, we'll find something for you to do on WrestleMania. Because if it were me, Andy, Randy's facing Cody, and we'll get to Randy and Cody in just a second. Randy's facing Cody. Cody's beating Drew. And Drew is facing Nick Aldis at WrestleMania, because I know it's not gonna, the result of that is way up in the air, because it's not gonna do anything for Drew to beat Nick Aldis. And if you've built Drew all the way to WrestleMania and then Aldis turns around and beats him in his only match, like, what's that gonna do? So I understand that that's convoluted, but Andy, to get Nick Aldis in the ring, there is nobody better than to have him face Drew McIntyre. And the way that they have set this up, because Andy, there are 3 feuds going on with wrestlers and non-wrestlers right now in the WWE, and there's no payoff for any of them. So at least let me pay one of them off and let Drew versus Nick Aldis happen at WrestleMania. And I know that you want to see him in the ring too. The timing might not be great, but dude, just imagine the spotlight that they would get.
Yeah, I love the idea of Nick Aldis and Drew McIntyre. Like I completely agree with you. If Drew is going to pull anybody back to the ring, it's either going to be Nick Aldis or it's going to be Wade Barrett. And I'm still holding out on that Wade Barrett Drew McIntyre match because that would be amazing. Or Sheamus and Wade would be awesome too, but that's a different story. I think Nick Aldis and Drew would be awesome. I don't think you do it at Mania though.
Right. Yes.
I think you can do that at Backlash.
Yep.
So I think you can still get to that point. Maybe even have Aldis get involved in the Fatal 4-Way or whatever that championship match is going to look like, and ultimately cost Drew the title. Then I think we can really start to explore that more. It's a double-edged sword for me because I love Nick Aldis. I mean, I one of the greatest matches I've ever seen in person was him and Cody at the NWA show here in Nashville.
Yep.
But I have a really hard time keeping Jacob Fatu out of the title picture or out of a big marquee match at WrestleMania. So I still think we get to Aldis and Drew. I just think it happens, Backlash, maybe even Money in the Bank or whatever's after that.
Do you think there's a scenario, and this is honestly the least likely scenario for me. Do you think there's a scenario where Drew beats Cody on Friday, we get Drew Randy straight up one-on-one, and you get Cody Jacob one-on-one at WrestleMania before Chamber?
Yeah.
Even before last Friday's SmackDown, I would have said that's a real possibility. Now, the way things have kind of played out, I don't think so.
I don't either, and I don't think it's really a great option for Mania either. Like I love Drew, I love Randy. I think them together is awesome, but Cody's going to be in the title picture at Mania. It's like Roman getting involved. Roman's going to be involved in the title picture at Mania. So like Cody has to be involved. Does that mean I think he's winning the title at Mania? Honestly, I think he's the least likely to win the title at Mania this year. But I do think he has to be involved. You build him up as the guy for the last, 4 or 5 years now since he came back?
4 years.
4 years. He you have to keep him in that title picture, especially the way you've been. Like I think you could have got away with it if you weren't building him against Drew for the last 3 months, and now Drew's the WWE champion. You can't just pull Cody away from that title at the same time.
Correct. But I mean, there's no way now that we get Cody Drew one-on-one at WrestleMania. No. It's either Randy is definitely involved in there some way, somehow. So let's go down this rabbit hole for just a second, because we are looking at Roman Reigns, CM Punk, night 2. That sucker is locked in. That is the main event of WrestleMania. There's no doubt about it. And you almost look at this fatal 4-way as like, well, we're trying to throw as many guys in here to try to match the aura and the star power that is going to be night number 2. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The scenario that I want to point out is I want to circle back to this Cody Randy thing, because they brought up an interesting point on Busted Open today that I want to bring to you. If Cody Rhodes defeats Drew McIntyre on Friday, and he goes one-on-one with Randy Orton in the main event of night number 1 of WrestleMania. And let's say, again, we said this is the clunky way to get to Cody Randy. This was easy, and they've found a way to make it clunky. It's fine. But over the next 6 weeks, Cody Randy, they start to realize that somebody's going to have to not turn heel, but somebody's going to have to do some heelish things to walk away with the championship at WrestleMania. I know that the match between AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura in 2018 does not sit well with a lot of people.
Oh, I'm twitching.
I just remember that build being the same way. They put them in tag matches, and one tried to hit their finish on the other and they stopped. And, it was vice versa. So it was sort of the same kind of build. What I'm saying, Andy, is if you put Cody Randy night 1 of WrestleMania and Cody walks in as champion, let's say that Cody walks out as champion after a full-on heel turn. We finally get it at WrestleMania on his best friend, Randy Orton. And then we get a proper face heel Randy Cody feud all the way to SummerSlam. Okay. Let's go with that scenario for a minute. Is that moment, remember last year, WrestleMania 41, night 1, Seth Rollins shocks the world. That's all we're talking about.
Yeah.
Cody Rhodes turns heel. Night 1 of WrestleMania this year. Do you think that is bigger than what we would see with Roman Reigns and CM Punk night number 2?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That to me would be like putting Cena's heel turn on night 1 of WrestleMania, and it'd be like, have fun night 2, like figure it out. Like Roman and Punk are gonna be awesome. Like it's gonna be amazing no matter what. But have fun. Figure that part out, because that's the Homelander Cody that we've been wanting to see for ever since he came back. Like it's been like, yeah, we love babyface Cody, but when he turns heel, it's going to be like we always have that in the back of our mind.
Yep.
But I love that dynamic between them. Especially with like even if it's one-on-one, if it's a triple threat, if it's a fatal 4-way, I think you plant the seeds of Randy turning heel the whole time because of the stuff they've been doing with Aleister Black backstage with him and Randy. And he maybe in the match he's getting ready to go for the punt on Cody, and somehow Cody reverses it, and then Cody punts him, and they're going back and forth, or we kind of stretch this out for a little bit. But the heel turn itself, if that happens at WrestleMania night 1, that is the moment of WrestleMania. That's Austin turning heel, and we're putting it on night 1. And it's I don't think we can do that moment the night 1 of WrestleMania.
Do you think it's a dead giveaway? Because I don't know that Punk Roman has been set in stone as night 2 main event. We just know it's the main event. Do you think it's a dead giveaway if this Cody Randy thing happens and they say it's the night 2 main event? Is it a dead giveaway that something like bombastic has to happen?
Yeah. I think it's a dead giveaway that something has to happen. Maybe it's Travis Scott coming down to the ring again. We'll give that a third try, or The Rock finally shows up, because apparently everybody thought he was in the crate at Elimination Chamber. Nobody has learned their lesson when it comes to The Rock.
I know.
Nobody has learned their lesson at all.
I know.
But yeah, I think it's a dead giveaway that something has to happen. Because if you put that thing on if you put Cody Randy on night 2 and Cody just straight up wins and nothing happens, you're looking at WrestleMania 41 again. No matter how great the match will be between Randy and Cody, you're building this thing up to have higher expectations, and then you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot when it comes to it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I know. I'm with you. City Kitty in the chat says it's definitely bigger than Punk and Roman. She actually dropped this comment as I was laying this out, that Cody turns heel. So we're on the same wavelength. Listen, if it happens 100%, it's the biggest moment of WrestleMania, and follow that, Punk and Roman. Let's just.
I mean, one of them would have to kill the other one literally in the ring for it to to match it.
Punk said he was going to do it tonight on Monday Night Raw.
That's what I'm saying. So,
we're going to talk about Punk and Roman here in just a few minutes. We're going to talk about the crate here in just a few minutes. But Andy, before we wrap up this world title convoluted discussion here, if you have the pencil, I know we're 6 weeks away, but Friday is a big hinge point in this story, this match between Cody and Drew. If you have the pencil, how are you booking this WWE Championship match at WrestleMania?
So if I'm booking it, I'm 1,000% going with the Fatal 4-Way.
Okay.
I'm having Drew walk in as champion.
Okay.
And I like the aspects of the match can be what they need to be.
Yep.
I think the main points coming out of it is there has to be tension between Cody and Randy coming out of this. Maybe not a full-blown heel turn between the two of them, but maybe they work together for a little bit, and then Randy tries to attack Cody from behind, and then they're like, oh, hi, like that classic Randy, and then Cody does it to Randy.
Yep.
I think stuff like that has to go on. I think Nick Aldis has to get involved some way, somehow, and accidentally cost Drew McIntyre. And if I'm booking it right now, and you can call me a mark, you can call me a shield, that's totally fine. Jacob Fatu pins Drew McIntyre and wins the WWE Championship coming out of WrestleMania. Because the thing about Mania, all the great WrestleMania main events, a lot of the great ones, have been an up-and-coming guy getting that moment.
Yep.
You look at Brock, you look at Eddie Guerrero, you look at the guy that we will not mention, you look at, Daniel Bryan. Those are WrestleMania main events.
About The Miz.
Well, he was champ going in. He don't count. But like you look at guys that go in as the underdog, the new guy.
Yep.
And when they come out as champion, it just completely changes everything about them. I think Braun Breaker was on that path to do that this year at WrestleMania because of injuries and stuff. He's not able to do that. I think you give the moment to Jacob Fatu, and I think it sets up a SummerSlam match. Jacob Fatu versus Roman Reigns for the WWE Championship.
Okay. All right. I would love for Jacob Fatu to walk out of WrestleMania as champion. I would love for that to happen. I think it's dangerous to do a one-on-one match up against Punk Roman on the other one or on the other night. I think it is. I think it's difficult because you're essentially trying to compare and it's not going to work.
Yeah.
But if there's any matchup that can compare, it's Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton for the WWE Championship. And I would love for Randy Orton to walk out as WWE champion from this WrestleMania. I think he deserves at least one more. I don't think he deserves three more. I don't think he's going to tie John Cena, but I think he deserves at least one more WWE championship. Maybe Randy winning the championship from Cody is, maybe Cody's not champion and he turns heel. Maybe we still get that heel turn and Cody chases Randy all the way through the summer. I don't know exactly what that looks like.
Yeah.
But I think my preference is we get Cody Randy night one. I do. That's my preference. That's the way that I would book it. I'm not mad about Jacob Fatu being champion.
Yeah.
I like that idea.
So you bringing up that like the one-on-one is bigger than the night one. I just realized as you were talking, it's been since WrestleMania 38 that we've had two singles matches main event WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Because 39 was the tag.
Yep.
40 was the tag. 41 was the triple threat.
Yep.
And then this year could be the fatal four-way.
Yep. It's been a minute. And 38 was an improv.
Austin and Kevin Owens. Yeah.
And Roman and Brock.
Yeah.
And then the year before that, there was the triple threat at 37.
Yeah.
And then 36. I mean, I know we forget about it, but 36 was technically two one-on-one matches as well.
Oh, yeah. Big Show.
Big Show and Drew.
Big Show and Drew.
Big Show and Drew and Taker and AJ Styles.
Yeah.
All right. The men's elimination chamber had some more sparks. Andy, Randy Orton winning wasn't the only surprise that happened in the men's elimination chamber match. And I say surprise in air quotes for those of you who are listening on podcast, because all signs pointed to the masked man being revealed as Seth Rollins. And at the elimination chamber, Seth Rollins made himself known, costed Logan Paul the match. We got some shenanigans. By the way, Andy, I loved the shenanigans of revealing the masked guys as nobodies. Like, I thought that was really, really cool. In fact, I don't know who the guy was at Chamber, but I do know that the SmackDown guy was one of Rollins' students.
I think the second guy was too.
Was he? Okay.
I think so.
If they somehow play that up, that's actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
But I loved it. I thought it was really, really cool to do that. Even though, Andy, we all knew that Seth Rollins was going to be the masked guy. That pop that he got was awesome. They played it so well. And then, Andy, tonight on Monday Night Raw for the follow-up, that might be one of the best opens to Monday Night Raw in the last 10 years. With Heyman calling him out, and you got the masked men running the vision off. Rollins just smashing Heyman with that steel chair and the stomp, the bloody nose. Then Jimmy Uso gets involved. LA Knight drives the ambulance. It was a chaotic opening, but dude, babyface Seth Rollins is back in a wild, wild way.
Yeah, I mean, he is. He absolutely is. And, you know, I still don't know what exactly he's going to do at WrestleMania. I think that's the interesting part. I think there's some options, but I love the reveal. I think they did a great job with it. I was really worried after the Bronson Reed injury, that they were just going to do the reveal of the Masked Man be a nobody and then just kind of drop it. I was a little nervous that was going to happen. I'm glad they didn't do that. I'm glad it makes sense for them to go ahead and pull the trigger and just have, you know, if Seth can come back and have him do all that and reveal himself. They really built it up. They really hyped it up. Everybody was on board with it. It was the worst kept secret probably in a long, long time, but it was the pop was still worth it. The reveal was still worth it. And yeah, I thought it was just a great reveal, a great moment altogether. Seth being back, you know, is good for WrestleMania. It's awesome for WrestleMania. I'm curious to see where we go from here because obviously he's back as a babyface. So, but we'll see how long he can keep his mouth shut and stay a babyface. So that's the hard part for him. But I'm very curious to see again, like what's in store for him at WrestleMania.
Well, watching the Elimination Chamber, you would think that it would be Logan Paul. I mean, he attacked Logan Paul. He cost Logan Paul the Elimination Chamber match. So you would think that it would be Logan Paul. There's a world. I mean, he faced Logan Paul 3 years ago at WrestleMania. I was there. There's a world where it's Austin Theory. Okay. I don't necessarily, that's not the best idea in my opinion, but there's a world where that happens. Andy, there's a world where Braun Breaker is cleared by WrestleMania and we still get Seth Rollins versus Braun Breaker. If you're building up Seth Rollins, I don't necessarily think you want to beat him at WrestleMania, and you certainly don't want to beat Braun Breaker if he's coming back for WrestleMania. So you might not go that route. Here we go, Andy. Sam Roberts gets all the credit in the world for this because he came up with this. I will give credit where it's due. When Becky Lynch confronted Paul Heyman after Braun Breaker speared him, she said, when my husband comes back, he is coming back for everything you hold dear. Well, Andy, what is the one thing that Paul Heyman has clearly shown that he holds more dear than the Vision? Who came out last week and issued an open challenge for WrestleMania? Andy, I think Seth Rollins' WrestleMania opponent is Brock Lesnar, because you notice tonight, he didn't go after Logan Paul or Austin Theory. He bashed Paul Heyman with a chair, and he stomped Paul Heyman in the middle of the ring.
Yeah.
You don't think Brock Lesnar saw that? And Brock Lesnar's coming back for that? I mean, Andy, if we're going to talk about this in a minute, pulling a marquee matchup out of the hat with Rhea Ripley and Jade Cargill, because you need to make the biggest match possible for WrestleMania. That's all we've talked about with Roman and Punk. Andy, if you're trying to make lemonade out of the lemons that have been the Vision injuries, including Seth Rollins, I know the world wants Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar. I know that. But isn't this a bigger payoff than that? I know we've seen it before, but if we want to put stars in there together, Seth and Brock would do it.
Yeah, I think it depends on what you want out of this.
Yeah.
Like if you want to build Brock up as this killer going into what may be his last year, I don't think he is going to lose at WrestleMania.
I agree.
So a lot of people that you put him in there with. So I don't know if you want Seth to come back immediately and eat a loss to Brock. I don't know. Like, I think the Brock is probably the most intriguing thing for Seth. I personally don't really care for him and Logan Paul. I don't really want to see him and Logan Paul again. I don't want to see him and Austin Theory. Right. I don't even want to see a 2-on-1 handicap match between the Vision and Seth Rollins. Like, I don't want that. So again, like I think it seems like the best option is to have him go against Brock Lesnar, or the only other option is he's not on WrestleMania. To me, that's hard to believe that you would keep a healthy-ish Seth Rollins off of the WrestleMania card one way or another. Now, there may be like a segment or like something massive that happens at the show. Maybe Seth gets involved in a Brock match, no matter who he faces.
Sure.
But if you're going to have him on the show, if you're going to have him wrestle, I don't think there's a better option than probably him and Lesnar.
Listen, Seth Rollins has wrestled at WrestleMania multiple times with a knee held together by paper clips and duct tape. There ain't no way, if that dude is anywhere close to ready to go, that they're leaving him off the WrestleMania card. I just don't think there's any way. I think you're right, though. The Brock scenario is unique because you said Brock's last year. You want him to be as big as strong as possible. Seth coming back. Can you afford for Seth to lose? Let me ask you this. If Braun Breaker could be ready to go, do you even entertain that? And if so, you're in the same scenario of, okay, you're going to beat Seth or you're going to beat Braun Breaker. Like, do you think you even entertain that?
I would, because I think a loss to Braun, and weird enough, I think a loss to Braun wouldn't hurt Seth as much as a loss to Brock would.
See, I think the opposite.
Yeah, but I think because you're building Braun up, so you have to give him that big WrestleMania moment. And again, I think there are ways that maybe the Vision gets involved and helps Braun beat Seth. And then, at Payback, Seth gets his win back, and we're kind of even from that point on. Sure. But if Brock and Seth happens, it's only happening once, and Seth's not getting his win back. Seth's not getting his moment back. So. And let's be real honest. It's probably going to be 2 minutes, 3 minutes. German, F5. We're going home.
Listen, WrestleMania 35. They went like 12 minutes, man. Come on, give them a break.
Yeah, but that was a younger Brock and a Brock that cared a little bit more, I think, than this version of Brock. Yeah. So Seth is more inclined to speak his mind now on a lot of things, and I don't think him and Brock would work a whole lot together.
That's true.
So I don't think it would last very long. I don't think, I think the spectacle is Brock Oba. One, just because Oba might be the most over guy in the whole company right now. Like that reaction he is getting week in and week out is ridiculous.
So I presented this to Aaron last week, and he got upset that I painted him into a corner. So I'm going to paint you into the same corner just because it's the same thing that we just laid out with Seth and with Braun and with Brock. Who wins between Brock and Oba? Because if you beat Brock in his last year, well, then that Gunther match coming up at SummerSlam doesn't mean a hill of beans. And you've eliminated Brock from the Royal Rumble, and you've seemingly done nothing. But if you beat Oba in his first big time match in the big spotlight, what's that going to do for Oba? So, like, how do you book it?
I would book it to where there's not a winner and the ring explodes.
Yes, let's go. Okay.
But at the end of the match, Oba is standing.
Okay.
Like Brock's not laid out. Like maybe they both kind of rise to their feet, or Brock kind of like stumbles back up the ramp. But Oba just stands in the ring and just stares a hole through Brock. And I think we run it back again at Payback, and maybe Oba gets the win there.
Sure.
But I think if you're going to do it, it has to be a spectacle. And that spectacle is the ring just absolutely explodes. Absolutely explodes.
Before we move on, great question from City Kitty in the chat. Why does it seem like the Oba matches are so short? Well, we're going to find out next week because he's going to face Rusev on Monday Night Raw, which I kind of thought as they were building it tonight that my Brock thing was going to come true and that Oba was going to face Rusev at WrestleMania. But City Kitty, I think to answer your question, it's because short matches with new guys are the best way to go to protect them. Like
especially big guys.
Big guys, you want him in there. You want him to look dominant. You want it to be fast. You want it. It's the same thing with Brock Lesnar. Brock could go a lot longer than Brock goes. The problem is you want Brock in, out. It's an attraction match is the best way that I know to put it. Andy, if you got anything else to add.
Yeah, and I think what they've done so well with Oba is they've let him talk before his matches. Yes. Like they've given him a chance to be charismatic, and the dude is more than just a look. He is actually really like the stuff with him and Kit Wilson was hilarious. And then last week he was like, "I'm going to kill you, Mike. Like I'm going to end you right here, right now." Like I love that they give him a chance to like, yeah, he's kind of funny, but then when he switches into that mode, he's a terrifying dude. So I think that's part of it, is they're not just, guys like Braun Strowman, they would just kind of wheel him out there, let him kill 3 short wrestlers, and then that would be it. He wouldn't say anything for 2 months. They've let Oba actually, flesh out his character some on TV, which I think is very helpful to him.
Yep, I do too. I agree. So, Andy, the road is still wide open as far as what's going to happen here. Glad that Seth Rollins is back. I would hate for him to have missed another WrestleMania, especially at this stage in his career where he has already said there's more time behind him than there is in front of him. So glad that it seems like he is going to at least be on the card in some way, shape, or form. All right, we got a lot to get to still to talk about. Roman Reigns, Rhea Ripley, Danhausen, Hall of Fame, all kinds of stuff. Let's take a little pause for the cause, though, and hear from the Reverend Tom Bryce about what you can expect with our great partners at SportsWire Radio.
Looking for all the latest happenings in the world of sports and wrestling? Well, you're in luck, because SportsWire Radio has you covered 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and 365 days a year. With great shows in the world of sports, such as the Pinstripe Chronicles, hosted by Uncle Tats, Donald Stewart, and Rob Barrows. New York Baseball Talk with Chris Bazaya and Rob Maraska. The Liftoff Jets, also hosted by Chris Bazaya and Sharman Phillip. Neil Villapiano and the Devil's State of Mind. Randy Dillon's Hockey Fan Chat. In the world of wrestling, SportsWire Radio has you covered with Squared Circle Radio, featuring Chris Belcher, Andy York, and Jared Justice. Those sit-down marks with DB, Primo, AJ, and Michael. A work in progress, featuring the Mayor of Canton, Piles, and Glenn Abbott. You can catch all of these great shows and more anytime, anywhere, and any place via the Listen Live button on SportsWireRadio.org, and you can also catch SportsWire Radio anytime on YouTube at SportsWire Radio 6570. To catch all the latest happenings in the world of wrestling. SportsWire Radio has you covered. It's all sports matters and all wrestling matters here on SportsWire Radio. I am your host, the owner of SportsWire Radio, the #1 global radio station, the owner of the Promo Wrestling Federation, and one of the owners of the Pride Wrestling Federation. Your voice, figuratively and literally, where all wrestling matters, the Reverend Tom Bryce.
Thank you so much, Tom Bryce, and thank you to all of the great hosts and great shows of SportsWire Radio. We appreciate all that you guys do for us. Just thank you so much. And Andy, they inducted us into the Hall of Fame not long ago, and I still can't believe that they did that, but we're in the Hall of Fame of SportsWire Radio. So thank you so much, Tom Bryce. And thank you to all you guys who are hanging out with us, whether it's your first time or you are a returning guest. Thank you so much. We ask one thing, just one thing. I know I tell you, hey, like the video, hey, drop your comments, share it on your social media. All those things are very, very helpful. But one thing that we ask, subscribe to the channel, please. Just subscribe to the YouTube channel. Doesn't cost you a thing. Hit that subscribe button. We're not going to send you an email. We're not going to do anything like that. Just subscribe to the channel. Helps us so much. And if you're just a podcast listener, we're not going to hold it against you. Just hit the follow button on whatever podcast platform that you have chosen. That's the Young Buck, Andy York. My name is Chris Belcher. Andy, we are going to rock and roll for the next 15 or so minutes. We're going to try not to make this a 2-hour podcast. I texted you at like 9 a.m. this morning. I said, this sucker is going to be 2 hours if we don't book it. So we're going to try to squeeze a lot of information into the next 15 to 20 or so minutes. So buckle up, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to start with the main event of WrestleMania, Roman Reigns and CM Punk. Roman Reigns returned to Monday Night Raw tonight and went face to face with CM Punk once again. And Andy, I told you right before we started the show, I wasn't a fan of this interaction, definitely as much as I was the first interaction. You didn't like parts of it and did like parts of it. I'm kind of the same way. Obviously, this is still the biggest match confirmed for WrestleMania right now, and we're all still excited for it. But Andy, I don't think either of these guys are going to get in the ring in the next 6 to 7 weeks. So, and we know Roman's slated for 4 probably more appearances on Raw between now and then. What's left for them to talk about over the next 6 weeks?
Yeah. Like, I don't really know what else you can bring up and go into more detail about. I thought the aspects of the promo that I really enjoyed were Punk bringing up things that are, bringing up the tweet that Roman hit out on Saturday, and then Roman was like, "Oh, did that offend you?" And Punk throwing it back in his face of, "No, I don't get offended by what people tweet or say on podcasts about me years ago." Yeah, that was a good little, like, just a quick, rebuttal for what Roman said a couple weeks ago. And then it just kind of fell off the wheels a little bit. It felt like
it felt forced.
Yeah. There were parts of it that, like, Punk talking about how I am tired because I know I have to carry the feud for the next 7 weeks. Like, that was a great line. And then, Roman coming back and saying, "Yeah, like, you brought the Shield in, but you brought the other two guys in. You didn't bring me in." Like, things like that I enjoyed.
Yeah.
But then, like, we started talking about NXT and, like, you're going to bring all these guys up and the Tribal Chief is going to smash them. And it's like, okay, cool. Like, what does that have to do with what's happening now? And the retirement tour, like, he buried John Cena kind of for no reason in this promo of, like, yeah, we're just going to make the most money off of you like we did John, and then kick you to the curb, and people are going to really hate the way you leave, and that's fine. Like, I don't care.
I wish he would have said, let me stop you right there. I wish that Roman would have said, because he was talking about Punk being a liar and talking about how he talks about how excited he is to be in this town and that town and man of the people, blah, blah, blah. I wish that he would have brought up right there saying, "Hey, weren't you the one that the first night you came in here, you were talking about wanting to make money, not make friends? You wanted to make money, and this was about making money." Like, throw that back in his face, because that's something he actually said. So make him comment on that. I don't know.
Or even, like, I think at some point the All Out stuff, without being mentioned, is going to be mentioned.
It has to.
Like, I think things like that are going to be brought up. I think, Punk is going to bring up the Shield carrying Roman for however many years it was, and things like. So I think there are still aspects that we haven't touched on.
Yep.
But I don't know how we get to each one of them, especially with Roman not being there every week. Also, I don't know why we did the random cut in the middle of the night with Punk recreating his pipe bomb, and then we didn't really do anything.
I think it's for the game.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Because it's his career mode.
Because I was sitting there going, like, oh, if they're cutting this in with Punk, then, like, he's gonna, we're getting another pipe bomb version tonight or something like that, and then if we didn't get anything like it. So I think there's more that they can talk about and touch on. I think they're probably going to save a majority of it for the go home.
Okay, so I'm looking at his dates. I wanted to look him up while you were talking about it.
Yeah.
So he's not on the show next week.
Okay.
He is advertised for March 16th, which is the following week in San Antonio, which is the next week. Brock is also advertised for. He's advertised for the following week in Boston, the following week in MSG, skip a week, and then it's the go home, which he is advertised for.
Okay. So probably the MSG show and the go home are going to be the, like, moments that we talk about again, like the first week. I think that just the next couple of weeks, I don't know what we do.
I'll be interested to see those 3 dates in a row. You've got the 16th, the 23rd, and the 30th. 3 in a row. What are you going to do different? I figure one of these, we're going to get a contract signing. I would assume. So
we're going to get a sit-down interview with Cole in the back or something like that.
Right. Something like that. Yeah, you're right. We talked about this before we came on the air as well, about the last line, Punk saying that he was going to bury Roman next to his dad. And that was the gut punch. That was the go home line or whatever. And it got under Roman's skin. You said you liked it, and I'm going to give you a chance to defend that. I did not like it, and here's why. If CM Punk is a man of the people, as he said, I have nothing to compare him to other than the white meat babyface that is Cody Rhodes. I know Punk is not a traditional babyface. I know technically this is babyface versus babyface, and both of them are going to lean heel in one way or the other. But if Punk is the champion and Punk really wants to be that guy for the people, like I just don't. Andy, this sounds stupid and it sounds corny. I'm going to say it anyway. It just doesn't seem like he's a good example for saying something like that to a guy whose dad passed away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't.
Yeah.
That sounds like a cop out that I'm saying that.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean?
I mean, Cody kind of said the same thing of like, your dad would be disappointed in you like a couple years ago. Sure. I think with Punk, he's not the white meat baby face.
Sure.
To me, this is The Rock. If we got The Rock versus Roddy Piper cutting a promo, could you see Piper saying something like that to somebody? Absolutely. Yeah. Could you see Stone Cold Steve Austin saying something like that to somebody? Absolutely. Sure. I think that's the role they're trying to play in this, as Punk is the loose cannon on the mic, says whatever he wants to whoever he wants.
Yeah.
And Roman is the same way, just complete like in a different way. He's the same way, but in a completely different way. So I think that's why I enjoyed it so much. Is it wasn't at a left field for Punk to say something like that.
Sure.
Like that's just who he told Vince McMahon the company's better off when you're dead. Like he's that kind of guy that just he speaks his mind. He speaks what he wants to say in that moment. And I think what I really enjoyed about it is week 1 in the promo, Roman ended it with the gut punch, saying, "I'm picking you because I hate you. Like I'm picking you because I have to beat you because I hate you." Now this week it's Punk getting it of like, I'm not beating you because I hate you. I'm burying you because I'm putting you next to your father. Like I'm putting you in the ground where you belong.
Yep.
And I think that's why I enjoyed that aspect of it so much more than anything else that was really mentioned in the promo.
It'll be interesting to see what happens over the next couple of weeks, to see what punches are thrown. Like you said, the all out stuff has to come up at some point. The Shield stuff. I mean, if Punk's talking about Roman's dad being dead, I assume that leukemia is coming up at some point. I don't know how. I don't know what.
Larry's getting mentioned probably.
Larry's getting mentioned. AJ Lee's going to get mentioned. Like it's all on the table now for sure.
Yeah.
So they set that up. So again, we've got 6 weeks to build it. Roman Reigns is going to be here for 4 of them. So we'll see what happens. Andy, the other thing that we had to wait to see what happened is what in the world was in this crate that was set to be opened at Elimination Chamber. And wouldn't you know it, Andy, Danhausen comes out of the crate and is revealed as a surprise at the Elimination Chamber for the Chicago crowd. Now, there's lots of different ways that we can go with this, Andy. The Chicago crowd had a really nice pop for him when he initially came out. And then when the lights went out and he left, everybody booed because, again, it's like, wait, that was it? And Andy, we have to, even though it was a Chicago crowd, we have to remember the majority of the WWE universe has no idea who Danhausen is. Not a clue. I had so many people texting me, who is this guy? Listen, think a darker, funnier, scary version of R-Truth. That's exactly what Danhausen is. And he proved it tonight on Raw with his backstage interaction with Adam Pearce and all his demand houses. Okay. Not only did Danhausen make an immediate impact to the Elimination Chamber, he cursed Dominic Mysterio so much that he lost the Intercontinental Championship to Penta tonight, which is a rabbit hole we don't have time to get down. But Danhausen in the WWE, what are your thoughts?
I think Danhausen being in WWE is awesome.
Okay.
I thought his debut, they shot themselves in the foot with it. really easily. I get a lot of people doesn't know who he is.
Syndicate, right there in chat, doesn't know who Danhausen is.
I think it's one of those that it's fine to just do a little research on him. Like you can kind of figure out who he is, or just let him tell you who he is the next week. Like you kind of got a picture of who he was tonight. I'm shocked that I'm not shocked he's in WWE. I'm shocked he's on the main roster already. Like I figured he was going to be NXT bound, maybe just debut tonight or debut at the Chamber and then show up in NXT. Because I mean, like again, where's Powerhouse Hobbs? Like he showed up at the Rumble and then I think he did main event one time, and he did a podcast with Stephanie. Like that's what he's done so far. So I don't know. Like it was a weird debut.
Okay,
I'm excited to see what they do with them.
How do you think they shot themselves in the foot? Because I've got a thought.
Yeah.
How do you think they shot themselves in the foot?
I think they built it up. Again, you got to think about what your fans are thinking about. Everybody thought who was a lock to show up at the Men's Rumble. Jericho.
Yeah, Jericho.
Then you do the crate thing, and everybody's instantly going, like this has got to be when Chris Jericho shows up. Is it fair to WWE to put that expectations on him when they haven't directly mentioned it, but they've mentioned it a couple of times? Like I think Pierce has said a couple of things in promos backstage leading into the Rumble. Michael Cole name dropped Chris Jericho on the Chamber show. I think Punk tonight said you made the list, which I thought was people reacted to that line when he said that.
Yep.
But I think even though you have not put those expectations out there, people have put those expectations out there, and you're not helping yourself by kind of dropping clues along the way of it's clearly not Chris Jericho. Like it's clearly not this person. You don't know who this person is. You don't know who it's going to be, but you know it's not the person that you're kind of expecting to be. So I think the expectations were high. And again, like you mentioned, like a lot of people didn't know who he was. So debuting him to the main roster crowd, even though it's in Chicago, not really the best option, not really the best choice that you could have done. That being said, I was texting a buddy of mine who knows who Danhausen is. We were talking about it. I need a tag team with him and Truth and see if they can't recreate the Golden Truth a little bit between the two of them. Like I think they could do something really special with those two. But again, I think the debut. I'm glad Danhausen's in WWE. I just think the debut was not the best way to bring him in.
See, I'm going to expound on exactly what you said. WWE didn't put anything out there for expectations. In fact, if you look at the last couple of times the crate showed up on TV, it wasn't like a comedy segment. Johnny Gargano was laying on top of it. Like Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis both kind of like brushed it off, and it was what it was. I think you're spot on that Danhausen should not have debuted on the last PLE before WrestleMania. The pushback to that is they clearly have some big plans for him, or they wouldn't have debuted him on the PLE leading up to WrestleMania. They would have just kept it for the Raw after WrestleMania or something like that.
Yeah.
So clearly they want to do something with him, want to make a big splash with him. Again, yes, maybe WWE has thrown some hints around about Chris Jericho. They did the same thing for Cody Rhodes, but they didn't say Jericho was going to be in the crate. They didn't say anybody was going to be in the crate, you know? Yeah. So again, we might be disappointed. That debut may have felt lackluster because fans have put that expectation on WWE. And while WWE maybe should listen to their fans or whatever, listen, when they put this crate out there, it's not like they were saying, well, we're putting the crate out there and we're going to hope whoever shows up is going to show up. We're hoping to sign Jericho or, whatever. Like for all we know, Andy, the internet wrestling community may have it right and that Jericho's contract is frozen and he's not coming to WWE. That may very well be true. You're right. It's unfair to WWE with these expectations that people put on it, but it's fans that put it on them. So you can't get mad at them if wasn't in their plan.
If you don't squash the expectations before you get to the moment, you're whether directly or indirectly playing into that even more so. Again, it's like kind of like WrestleMania last year. Nowhere was it said that The Rock was going to show up, but it was heavily implied that there's a chance he might show up, and the fans were expecting him to show up.
For sure.
So then when he doesn't show up, you kind of get that. Really? Like we're doing this again. So I think WWE has to be better about maybe they didn't put those expectations out there, but they're the ones that can control the narrative to quiet those expectations that it's going to be a Jericho or a Rock for some reason.
Yeah, in no way, shape, or form was it going to be Rock or Vince McMahon or any stupid stuff like that. But Andy, to push back on that though, if this is entertainment and you want to keep people locked into the story, why would you reveal a surprise that hey, it's not going to be this person? Because then everybody's going to be like, well, I don't care then. If it's not going to be that person, I don't really care. And then because to that point, I think if you told everybody on the pre-show of the Elimination Chamber, it's not Chris Jericho, then when Danhausen comes out, you're going to get the same reaction of people just being like, well, I don't care. It's not who I wanted it to be. I don't even know who this guy is. Who cares? So you at least keep the suspension and the excitement up.
That's why I don't think the crate was a good idea. Like this would be like you're doing the QR codes with Bray Wyatt for, somebody else to show up when it's like very, because we even talked about that before he came back of like, it's very heavily implied that this is Bray Wyatt. The chance that it's not, I feel bad for whoever it is because they're already like the fences, like they're already getting pushed back. I think the same thing is true with Danhausen. Is I think you could have debuted him here and it been completely fine, but you didn't have to build it up like you did when there's other expectations circling around at the same time. So I think they didn't do him any favors by debuting him the way that he did. Although what he said tonight was hilarious when he was like, I showed up and the crowd loved me. They cheered. And I was like, yeah, kind of. They did for a minute. Like
they did for a minute. You're right. They did for a minute. All right. Let me tell you what else they cheered about, Andy, because again, we're going long and we cannot get out of here without talking about the winner of the Women's Elimination Chamber, Rhea Ripley, no longer in a tag team with Io Sky, no longer a tag team champion. She wins the Women's Elimination Chamber, punching her ticket to face Jade Cargill at WrestleMania for the Women's Championship on the SmackDown side. And Andy, you alluded to this a few minutes ago when we were talking about Cody and Randy. There's a world, Andy, where they can build this Rhea Jade matchup all the way to WrestleMania, and it could main event night number 1. And Rhea Ripley, the superstar that she is, I said it last week, she's on Austin Rock level at this point, being a superstar. You could easily have her holding up the gold at the end of night number 1.
Yeah, I mean, I think you absolutely could. She is the face of the women's division. Easily the face of the women's division. I think there could have been an argument for Liv at some point. I don't think there is right now. I think Rhea is the top of the top in the women's division. I think she's absolutely right up there with Roman and with Punk and with Cody. Like I think she's up there as one of the biggest attractions. Everybody's there to see her. Everybody wants to see her. When her music hit tonight, the place went nuts. When her music hit in Chicago, the place went nuts. I expect nothing different, especially with what's going on with social media and especially the back and forths that have been happening already, whether, it's all a shoot, brother, or whether this is propaganda for Unreal Season 3, which I think that's a real possibility. It plays into it. Like it plays into what happens and the story that they're telling. So I'm locked in for Friday.
Because look at this, the beef between Tiffany and Charlotte with the whole Ludwig and the DMs and the whole this, that, and the other. What happened at the end of the WrestleMania match on Unreal? They were all buddy, great job, blah, 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 whatever. Yeah. So whether they patched it up along the way or not, I don't know.
Right.
But I think you're right. I think this is intriguing. This is the best case scenario. If you're not going to have Bianca Belair, sorry, City Kitty, I know we're all disappointed just like you are. But if you're not going to have Bianca Belair for WrestleMania, this is absolutely the better choice.
Yeah.
With Rhea Ripley, because listen, Jade Cargill is still green as grass, ladies and gentlemen, and nobody's going to make her look better than Rhea Ripley in a match. You couldn't have picked a better opponent for Jade Cargill, and the star power of this match just makes it that much bigger. So I'm really excited. I'm glad. I know that this women's tag team match just lost a lot of star power with Rhea and Io being taken out of it. But the fact that if this was a pivot, if they were waiting on Bianca or not, I don't know. But I'm really glad that they went this direction and put Rhea in this spot because she needs it. The women's division needs it. WrestleMania needs it. Because last year, Andy, we know that women's triple threat match, night number 2, may have been the best match of the weekend. And the other women's matches on the shows, were okay. You got to have one that's going to be memorable, and this is going to be the one, I think. So I'm excited. What do you think, if you had to put a number on it, chances that this ends up main eventing night number 1?
I would right now I'm probably at like a 30%, 35% that it main events. I think if we get the Fatal 4-Way, I don't really see it main eventing because that's just 4 massive stars getting the show. I do think this will, if this doesn't main event night 1, it's either kicking off night 1 or kicking off night 2.
Sure. Yep.
Which, the last couple of years, the opener has been like as important or as big as the main event the last couple of years too. So it's not a bad spot to be in. Yep. So I think if it's the Fatal 4-Way, or if I think if it's Randy Cody straight up, I don't see this main eventing over that.
I agree.
But
the only way it main events is if it's Drew Randy straight up.
Yeah. If it's Drew Randy straight up, then I do think we get Jade Rhea being the main event. Which again, I think you talk about it, the biggest women's star of all time. I think it's
we're getting there. Yep.
Yeah. I think close. It's. I mean, of course, I think easily of the last 10 years, the biggest women's star
since
probably
AJ Lee.
Yep. Probably the biggest of all time by the time her career is done. Gosh, versus
we're totally
a real
4 horsewomen right now. Wow.
I know. Versus a real life looking superhero.
Yep.
Like it's hard to look at that on paper and go, yeah, that could easily main event. Like that could main event. That could be, that could be the night that Jay gets her main event, that Rhea gets her main event. I don't know what the outcome is right now. I know which way I'm leaning as of right now. Probably will change by the time we get to WrestleMania, but I think there is a world where this absolutely could main event.
Yep, I completely agree. All right, something else that was announced today that, listen, as an old school wrestling fan, I have to talk about. We cannot get out of here before we mention this. It was confirmed when the Hall of Fame ceremony is going to take place, which it's going to be an hour after SmackDown on the Friday night WrestleMania weekend. That is a long night for you East Coasters. But I will be in Las Vegas. I'll be on the West Coast. So I might go to this. We'll see. I don't know. Anyway, last week, the second inductee was announced. Of course, Stephanie McMahon was announced at WrestlePalooza, which a lot of people are forgetting. And then the phenomenal AJ Styles announced last week as probably the headliner of this Hall of Fame class 2026. But today, Andy, one of the longest waiting that we've ever waited on anybody to get inducted into the Hall of Fame. It's finally happened. The deal is done. One of, if not the greatest tag teams in WWF history, Axe and Smash, Demolition, going into the Hall of Fame, their rightful place. Andy, it's about stinking time.
Yeah, I think we've kind of just been waiting for this one for a while. I know they were part of the lawsuit, yes. And there's a lot of stuff in the air, and people are petty when it comes to things, and so I think there was a world where everybody thought, well, there's no way they're probably ever going to be in it. New Day, didn't just beat their record; they kind of destroyed their record. Yep. And so I thought there was like a world where this was never going to happen. Absolutely deserved. I think we look at the Hall of Fame sometimes and we roll our eyes at people that get put in, especially some of the legends. And I put that in air quote because some people aren't, just because you wrestled in the 70s, that make you a legend of wrestling, just to be real honest with you.
It's true. You'll go beware. Sorry.
Yeah. These dudes more than deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. And so I'm glad they're getting their moment. I'm glad they're getting their spotlight. It's a shame it's taken this long to get there, but absolutely deserved.
And it was announced tonight they're going to be in the second wave of WWE 2K26 when they release the I don't know what they call it, add-ons or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to come out in the game in April, so that's going to be cool. They're getting action figures, first time since I think the Hasbro line in the 90s. So really, really cool to see Demolition finally come back to the WWF fold and to get the love that they deserve. Because again, for those of you who are young like Andy, I know Andy's watched Demolition, but for those of you who are young like Andy and have never seen a Demolition match, listen, go out of your way. Andy, I don't know if you've seen this one or not. SummerSlam 1990, 2 out of 3 falls versus the Hart Foundation. Brett and Anvil versus Demolition. Just go back and watch it. I know that Crush is in that match and not Axe, but go back and watch that match. It's just absolutely phenomenal. So glad that these guys are going to be in the Hall of Fame this year. We're going to be right here to cover it for you because Andy and I always load up WrestleMania week with extra episodes. And just like we did last year, we're going to dedicate a full episode this year to the Hall of Fame class. That'll drop during WrestleMania week. So make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you're locked in to the channel so that you don't miss any of those extra episodes. And Andy, this road to WrestleMania, I'm excited, man. I'm fired up. I think there's still a lot of possibilities that they can go. A lot of people they can still bring in, a lot of surprises that we haven't seen yet that could happen. Again, this expectation that we all have, who knows? We'll have to see, but man, I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I am too. I mean, we've got another twist of Penta now the IC champion, which I think is way past due for him to get a championship on WWE TV. Him being the IC champion, I didn't see it coming either, but I'm thrilled for him. I think it's awesome. Do we now see a ladder match for the IC title at WrestleMania? Because Penta loves a ladder match, so I'm all for that. So I think we are on the road of a very curvy road that is going to go way too many lefts and way too many rights. But the destination, I think, will be worth it. I'm hoping. So I'm looking forward to it.
Listen, we said it earlier in this show. Friday is going to be a huge hinge point. And what City Kitty in the chat has been screaming Penta the whole time. Yes, ma'am. Yes, we are.
I'm with her.
We're pumped. Friday's going to be a huge hinge point in the road to WrestleMania. We're either going to take a hard left or a hard right.
Yeah.
And we're going to find out Friday. So keep it locked in right here to the channel. If something breaks, if we get some breaking news, maybe there's an extra bonus instant reaction show. Keep it locked in right here because listen, that's what we do during WrestleMania season. Crap happens, we get on here and talk about it. So keep it locked in right here and we will do our best to cover each and everything for you. All right, that has been another edition of Squared Circle Radio Live. Thank you so much. We will be back, if not on Friday, definitely next Monday night after Raw. For Andy York, my name is Chris Belcher. Thank you so much again for being with us. We will catch you guys down the road.